feels different this time. Thanks, Peter. But yeah, it did feel different. 6 thematically linked episodes which nudged Doctor Who into a whirlwind of epicness like never before. Well, it never has been, has it? At least not on TV. It sure was a ride. I don't know if time went really quickly or really long. Oh time, you sly, evil dog. Flux most definitely played out as a whole different beast to series 1 and 2 of the 13th Doctor era, and I figure its primary mission was to convince audiences that there was life left in this turbulent chapter of Doctor Who's life, that it wasn't going to go quietly into the night. I can say with all sincerity that it proved that point to a degree, and going into more detail than that, it does get rather complicated. The ending to end all endings? No, it just led straight into the next 3 episodes when I really hoped it wouldn't. If you thought Flux was consistently brilliant from start to finish, then power to you. I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong, but I did try and watch these with the best attention to detail that I could, and my feelings were very mixed at the end. I can't really commit myself to love nor hate. I'm mostly leaning towards like, I think. I don't know, it's, you know, yeah. As I said in my last Flux video, I only have the vaguest idea what the general consensus is. This is mine. Objective and irrelevant in equal measure part 2, episodes 4, 5 and 6. Let's stop fooling around and dive in. By the way, whopping spoilers of the highest order coming your way. If you haven't watched it and you want to watch it, then don't watch this. Angel in the TARDIS. Get off it. Oi! Right, okay, Angel's story it is. Perhaps dangerous waters for Mr. Chibnall in a lot of respects. By my reckoning, angels are probably the most beloved original creatures of New Who, and will therefore be considered by many as sacred, used in fleeting handfuls by founding father of angels Stephen Moffat across his tenure, and now, oh no, Chibnall's doing them. No, it's alright, it's okay. We knew from the word go that the red light, grey light scaries would come into play, so we've had time to prepare. I suppose the biggest trap one can fall into when adopting a creative property like this is making it all about what clever spin can we put on the conventions of this monster this time around, whereas all you really want to be concentrating on is the pacing and the drama and the characterization of the episode, which is what made the classics classic in the first place. So how did this one fare up? Well, there's quite a bit from both sides, and we'll get into it. Welcome to Somewhere in Devon, November 21st, 1967. Horror, polygraphs, tapes, church bells, possession. Creepy to the max soundtrack raising the roof in this episode. Here's your Halloween special. Hello Claire Brown. Guess those mysteries I moaned about before are starting to resolve. You are so from the future, Claire. What are you doing here in Devon in the past? Just 3 days after episode 2 of Doctor Who and the Ice Warriors was originally broadcast. Stranger still, she is having these growly something is talking through me moments. Only tea with honey from Professor Jericho. Only tea with honey from Professor Jericho's own bees can take the edge off. The Doctor's bringing her angel noob companions up to speed on the don't blink thing, and also rebooting the TARDIS, causing a dimensional compression, thus ejecting quantum life forms. Zap, done, get out. Hello coastal Devon. Love a good Doctor Who church, me. Especially when they explode at the end. The village is looking for Peggy. It doesn't do that in this one, by the way. The village is looking for Peggy, a missing girl, with Yaz taking some initiative in the search, as you hope that she would, what with her being police and all. At the same time, the Doctor gets acquainted with Claire again, and Professor Eustachius Jericho himself. Got a resolve of steel, this guy. He's a keeper, alright. Welcome to the Force, mate. Or the fam, or whatever. He clues the Doctor in about Claire's premonition drawings. Oh, better rip that one up. Drawing of an angel. That's a new one. Claire's fully angeled. There's one hiding inside her. We're going to get all kinds of spooky indications of that, not to mention all the other weeping angels plaguing this village. The humble community of this small part of Devon is riddled with them. That's no scarecrow, Dan. That's your highly inconvenient trip back through time. Same village, 66 years earlier. 1901. Chickens. There are enough of these rocky rotters to quantum zap an entire village. Where are the clerics when you need them? Village of the Angels by name, Village of the Angels by nature. This chunk of Devon has been quantum extracted and is now floating somewhere in space. Nope, it doesn't matter what time period you're in, the whole thing is consistently rollocked. Good riddance, those two people sucked. The Doctor, Claire and Jericho spend a wodge of this story trapped in this old house, giving the episode ample chance to engineer some angel-riddled suspense, and also at the same time establish a line of communications with the angels, sort of. Oop, paper's coming back to life. Yeah, you see, this is what worried me. You don't need that for the angels to be cool, they were already cool. The TV thing is already an established trait, so that's all good. The polygraph drawing is quite fun, if a little contrived. I kind of feel like the writers were going to do that whether they realised it made sense or not. There's also a plethora of talking angels, some more necessary than others. Using Claire as a soapbox while the angel in question stands behind her, I'm very much down with. Talking like a spooky man through a machine, nah. You're taking the demystification process a step too far. Speaking of the former, time to give the lowdown from the horse's mouth on this strange double beach thing in Claire's mind. Looks cool. So here's the short end of it, folks. The angel's on the run from the other angels, and they're taking their instructions straight from the Division. Boom. I gotta tell you, I'm glad this story took that direction, because even if this turned out to be the best standalone Angels adventure of all time, it's still nestled awkwardly in a 6-part story and therefore needs to keep that as its main focus, and it does. So last video I went all nasal saying, oh, they won't go back to the Division thing until 2022. Well, shut up me. We're getting sprayed with gossip right here, right now, and episode 4 is only the start of it. Pretty disarming for the Doctor, thus ramping up her emotional intensity. More on that in the later episodes. This here angel has one up on the Division knowledge, seemingly more so than the Division itself for some reason, including the history of the Doctor, so Big Deal doesn't cover it. The Doctor sees an opportunity to bridge the gap between Timeless Child and Hartnell, so naturally her fun exterior is falling apart. We also get this to keep Flux Part 4 on the island of relevancy. Hello Belle, universe still buggered? Yep, especially this place, Pisano. Not quite the honeymoon destination you and Vinda were once dreaming about, the canals have gone and everything. She also talks about that one special night her and Vinda had in the cubicle hotel opposite the academy. In fact, it was more than a good night. Let's talk about that later. But wait, it gets worse. Oh Azure, you mad, weird, horrid hag. And I'm still really liking these villains. Just look at this. Coercion and slavery on a grand scale. By offering false hope just so you could suck all these innocent peeps into a walking prison. Gotta hand it to you, Chibs, this really did give me the chills. Passenger, yeah, because you'd trust that guy with your journey. Hope they have a better time of it in part 5. Back to the present, as in 1967 present, and we're treated to this enjoyably creepy scene set in a secret passage, built because one of the previous occupants of the house had a randy secret habit or something like that. I'm a big fan of the old hands coming out of stuff genre of horror, so it really worked for me. This is Angels at their best. Flickering lights, snarling faces, let's have it. Here's what it all built up to. Past Peggy and present Peggy meet because the Angels are sickos and they revel in leaving behind some sort of remnant of their villainy. A little story to blast chill the spines of others. I really like that. Tell you what else I like, this Jericho fella. A grand and noble effort, sir. Here we go guys, Fam 2.0. We're gonna have so much fun in 1901. They do as well. In 1967, however, son of a gun. Big twist time. The penny drops. The Pandorica opens. The renegade angel has come to an agreement with its former colleagues, and I'll bet the Doctor is over the flipping moon about that. Claire was bait, the Doctor was the bargaining tool, and this rogue agent had it planned from the get. And now the Doctor is in the hands of the Division. By the Angel's reckoning, obtaining the Doctor is a recall. Well, they took their sweet flipping time with that one. The 13th Doctor sprouting wings and getting angel-fied. That's pretty intense. Speaking of intense, I do love a bit of audio wobbly weird out, and the Flux gets into that too, with the closing credits blaring a version of the Doctor Who theme so fuzzy in its mixing that... Huh? Ah, I got you. Just enough confusion lands before it cuts to this. Well, I guess this relationship does bear some real significance. Oh boy. This was a cliffhanger episode, alright, and while we've seen similar ones like this before, there hasn't been one of this magnitude in the Chibnall era at all. I'm still finding it hard to put my finger on what I thought about this episode as a whole, but its closure did raise my expectations from Flux being something that had a bit of a good bit in the second part, to something that had a solid foundation and could stabilise right until the end. Closer to the finish line and going strong in many respects, increasing the anticipation and tension and excitement in a bunch of ways, and that's where my head was at this point. I sure wasn't going to pretend that I didn't like it. Count me in, said I. Survivors of the Flux, nothing standalone in this one, just knackers to the ceiling storytelling. The Doctor awakens in this infinite chasm of angels with more of them talking. Stop talking now, that's enough. What's up, Ood? And hello, you teller of things, of secrets that we all want to know about. Who are you? Who are you? It's Division. The Doctor's here. The eye of the narrative storm. Prepare for a feast. As for the past stranded friends, it's been 3 years. Have fun with that big finish. Fun with pulleys. Yaz is in her element, fitting nicely into her deputy doctor role. They have discovered a pot that can decipher the exact date that the world is going to end, December 5th, with these snake-armed Harrys trying to put them out of business before they get too close to the secret. I like this whole subplot. A nice substantial story living in the fast lane with a whole load of mythology that you're free to cram in between. It gives me shades of the old Matt Smith sagas, things happening in different points telling their own little story. It really helps flesh out the whole thing. Looking back, the shenanigans of Yaz, Dan and Jericho were one of my favourite things about Flux. Anyway, the Doctor smuggled a 9th Doctor-esque, I already knew what you were gonna say next, interactive hologram thing, and now she's informing Yaz of the battle to come. Earth is the target and every displaced nasty is gonna turn up and go, "Ugh, get off, it's mine." Hence FAM 2.0's mission to find which smarty pants historical figure clocked the forthcoming battle on December the 5th, 2021. Basically, Flux episode 6. But back to the drama of this scene, we haven't seen much of Yaz and the Doc together since that whole acid thing. There's that level of affection that runs deeper than the Doc's relationship with Graham, Ryan and the rest, and I'm really happy to see that Yaz is genuinely missing her Doctor rather than just doing the snotty, "you left me, now I'm angry" thing, which I found a little two-dimensional, grating and childish in the other seasons. It's good to see we're past that now, into an emotional state that's a little more earnest and mature. I hope it stays that way. Anyway, the source of villainy coming from this quadrant of the Flux story is this time hopping and nasty. First seen a couple of episodes back giving Vinder a stern talking to, the Grand Serpent. No relation to the Mara as far as I'm aware, though he's more like the meddling monk but with none of the fun. He's gone and flippin' retconned the history of UNIT, with him now pulling the strings at key points in history. The Chosen Chimp is proud to introduce another edition of UNIT Doing Stuff. Today... The Grand Serpent has tweaked events just right so the Earth is primed for a big fat shock to the system that we will get wind of before the episode is out. So you got all of this going on, which is interesting to say the least, but if you really want to cram something crumbly and flammable in your story pipe, then get a load of this. Division began on Gallifrey, a kind of splinter faction if you will, who actively interfered with the development of other civilizations rather than making it a guiding principle to not do that. Apparently the Division is magnificent, but the Doctor doesn't agree. Especially the part about recruiting other races to do their work, angels included. And look where this Division complex is, outside of the universe. No wonder the Doctor couldn't find any trace of Division, and I guess that explains why it's never been stumbled upon before in Doctor Who history. That's right, we're talking multiverses. She actually said multiverse. Doctor Who. And the multiverse of... Bradness. I didn't get a great deal of time to write this script. It seems that Doctor Who is running for candidacy in the multiple universe thing, like Marvel and Rick and Morty. I'm not sure how I feel about that. We've had parallel universe stories old and new in the past. Those little encounters were fleeting and dangerous enough to adequately plant the idea that travelling across universes is too perilous to entertain and is therefore a once-in-a-lifetime head trip to be used sparingly. I was happy with that. It's that bigness thing that Chris Chibnall seems to like so much again. Even a whole universe was too small for him, now he's talking about having loads of them. Please don't make this a thing, one universe is enough, it's massive. This so-called seed vault is taking all the good points from the dying universe and moving it over to the next, and so on so forth. In a villainous plundering of resources, the real-life political implications of which, I'll say this much, is a little more substantial than the environmental message put across in Orphan 55, if that is indeed what's happening here. All I know is that I've been fed so much from this plot point alone that I can barely stand up right now. It's like Christmas dinner. But wait, we're just getting started. Time to talk Timeless Child. Right here, right now. See, this here is her. She's the one who took the Doctor. A lost orphan seemingly deposited by a wormhole. Yeah, I know. And raised her as the Timeless Child. The Doctor's sort of mother, kind of. Until the Doctor got out of Division and did Doctor stuff. Naturally, the solution is to engineer the Flux and kill the Doctor and the universe in unison, thus protecting the secret of the division. Dan, please do something funny with a pulley. My head hurts. Thanks. But serious, I guess this is what I asked for, right? As I said in the last video, I didn't really like what the Timeless Child story did to Doctor Who mythology, but hoped at least some good drama would come of this. I mean, yeah, this is the most intense we've ever seen of number 13 right up until this point. Consider this the Doctor disarmed, and it's good to watch. Puh, Tectaeon. Look at her, Tectaeon. Yeah, it does sort of sound like someone mumbling Doctor Who, doesn't it? Kind of. So yeah. Do you want to know how the people who fell for Azure's passenger ruse got on? Like that. That's how they got on. It's easy to forget about these two at this point, but no, they're still wrecking the joint. Time eating up space. What the hell are they talking about? Hello, Belle. How's your egg thing? Lots of egg stuff in Flux. Never quite got to the bottom of what that was about either. They got Vinder. This is what a passenger prison interior looks like. It's quite nice, I think. Ah, hello, Diane. So that's what that was. After some wise words from a seer in Nepal, Dan writes a message to Carvanista 117 years in the past, next to the Great Wall of China so it can be seen from space. That's fine, mate. After everything else that's happened, just go for it. I'm a big fan of beards growing and hair changing in TV, so you go, guys. And look, a smarty pants historical figure who clocked the December 5th, 2021 invasion. Hello, Mr. Williamson. Bet you didn't know this about your own life. Williamson constructed a base of operations in the form of these tunnels, whilst travelling to faraway lands. Go on, Big Finish. These were built in order to defend humanity from the destruction to come. Since the Flux, different tunnels have bridged various points in time, all messy and foreboding, explaining why he ended up in all these different spots. Door number 9, that's where the chaos is at. The Doctor tries as she would to botch Tectaeon's operation, and in doing so finds out that the universe is squashed. But more importantly, here's that house that I liked from War of the Sontarans. A house of lost memories, if you will. Fob watch, boom. Decision time, Doc. Rejoin the division, get the lost memories of your uncounted selves back, or keep them sealed and carry on being a Doctor as we know and love you. If you were all hoping that this would be one of those Netflix Black Mirror Bandersnatch type deals, then no. The story's going to decide for us, even though I'm sure that... Anyway, let's not worry about that now. Grand Serpent has pulled the trigger on his scheme, and it's the classic penultimate episode trope part 2. A sudden burst of monsters upon the Earth. It's not an invasion, it's too late for that, it's a victory. This time, Sontarans. Okay, I thought we had all that wrapped up. I loved it when they did the invasion thing in the past, but it just doesn't seem right using Sontarans for the conquest of the Earth. Nothing against them, it just seems a little bit above their station, and they already tried this once 3 episodes ago and failed. I'm not saying do Cybermen again per se, but something like, I don't know, Autons would have been better. If you wanted to keep it tight, you could even have had Angels taking over the Earth, seeing as they featured so much in this story. I think you missed a trick here, guys. The only thorn in Grand Serpent's side is Lethbridge Jr. Good job, Kate. Pah, a bomb. What was that gonna do? Yeah, you get off that grid. Anyway, the Doctor's got it covered. Swarm and Azir zap Tectaeon, which is fine, because she was annoying. Right, okay. Not even the kitchen sink left. Here we go. Grand finale time. Hold on to something. Troughton. If you backtrack onto other season finales of Doctor Who, you do tend to get a pattern of things getting a little lighter for the final stretch, and yeah, there is a bit of that. Throughout the Flux, we've navigated between locations and characters, and this episode has found a way to impose the Doctor upon all of them at once. Well, at least 3 at once. Something to do with being outside the universe and being in contact with Swarm, a bona fide evil time monster, I think. It's a triple Doctor bonanza, meaning that at least 2 of them get to have a jovial argument and joke about how one thinks the other is good looking, which is cheeky and Captain Jackish, and quite frankly I just don't think now's the time. The Sontarans are in the driver's seat and have full on taken over the Earth again, and I retain my reservations about that. They also have a foolhardy plan to use the Daleks and Cybermen as a living shield to absorb the Flux and then pick at the remains as the dominant race of everything. Surely that's beyond your capacity for villainy. The Doctor, or one of them at least, manages to exploit a weakness in the Sontaran chain of command by bribing a somewhat weak-minded Sontaran operative with chocolate. 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 If it wasn't for this guy's love of the stuff, they may have never saved the universe. Please keep that in your head. head. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, guys. I've done extensive research here, and I can confirm that this would never have happened with the Cybermen, or the Autons, or the Angels. And I bet Ibrahim Namin hated this stuff, just saying. As confirmed even further, this thing is a big scary funhouse of the Doctor's past selves. It's all in there, those beardy hairy brain of Morbius incarnations to boot. Swarm is having a ball tormenting the Doctor with this, zapping and unzapping the house over and over. And so goes the plan for Swarm and Azure. Tecteun wanted to flux the universe to cover her tracks. These two want to repeat that action again and again and again, to keep the universe in a kind of eternal torment, out of revenge for their own imprisonment. And that's what they've been trying to do all along. Yes, it's petty, but fitting for their personality, so I'm happy to give that a neat pass. One of the other Doctors finally touches base with Joseph Williamson, and gets the lowdown on how and why he constructed these tunnels, which the Doctor can now utilise. So thank you for your service, mate. Wish we could have got to know you a little bit more. An interesting addition to the roster. And that's that. Tell you who else is good, Diane. Yep, she busts her and Vinder out of the passenger prison. If you think this was going to go the way of the damsel in distress in all of this, then you're dead wrong. It actually went fully the opposite. She caught on quicker than most. I really can't fault this plot thread. I wasn't expecting this, and it was really cool. They should have made the whole finale just about her. Oh, and by the way, she's about to come up with a plan to save the universe. Other things of note, Jericho dies, which makes me sad, another senseless waste, and Grand Serpent gets imprisoned on a rock on the Belt of Loose Ends, I think it's called. He was an enjoyably hateable fella, so I'm looking forward to seeing him getting offed somehow in the future. And the whole Lupari get wiped out, except Carvanista. Come on. Vinder and Bell are reunited, and there's no mention of the thing. You know the thing. You have the internet. You've seen the theories. Timeless child found abandoned by a wormhole. Bell having a baby. Yep. No resolution on that yet. You know, they might change it, because when that twist does come, it won't be a twist because everyone has already figured it out. So yeah, watch this space. She could give birth to anyone, you know. Could be him. I may be overly cynical, and there is enough fun to be had in this finale, I guess, but if there's one thing that irks me more than anything else, it's the Sontarans getting one over the Daleks and Cybermen in one tactical move, and it somehow acts as a surprise to both chief villains of Doctor Who. No, I'm not having that. Sontarans do not outsmart Daleks and Cybers in one contrived chess move. I might sound evil, but I was actually more heartbroken by that than I was by the Lupari dying, mainly because in my head it marked a big hit to the integrity of this story. The Vanquishers also had some quite good Doctor Who moments, resisting torture and that. I wanted to see more of that, instead we got more of that. This episode has got a lot of shades of Journey's End, that season 4 finale where everybody does their bit and smiles a lot, and there's 2 Doctors. There are a bunch of other similarities as well if you want to check it out, but I mean, yeah, come on guys, we're at war. So the solution to the problem of the Flux wiping out the Earth, get Passenger to suck it all in. It was Diane's idea. The universe was saved by a grumpy walking TARDIS in leather. Did it reverse the damage done to the rest of the universe in the first episode? I really can't say, because I don't know. I don't know if that still happened to these guys or not. I don't know. It just ends. Swarm and Azure, they just end too. A harrowingly unsatisfying demise of 2 villains who I actually really liked and I thought carried a lot of the unique identity that Flux possessed. Hardly a worthy final battle given their supposed history with the Doctor. Wow, time is evil. That's them done, and now time is manifesting as a sneering version of the Doctor with a different jacket, saying in so many words that you've only got 3 episodes left and the Master will probably turn up, so look out. A little trickle of drama and another big fat open ending. For what it's worth, I still have a lot of time for this connection between the Doctor and Yaz. I always consider the ending the crucial part of a Doctor Who series, obviously, and it's definitely one of the most tricky things to pull off. I get and appreciate that. I feel there's simply not enough information to extrapolate exactly what happened in the grander scheme of things established in earlier episodes and how we're supposed to feel about it. And there's a chance that they may cover that in the later 2022 stories, but I implicitly stated at the start that they shouldn't do that. Fair play, this was not an easy gig. I'm only deflated by the ending because I thought everything leading up to it on the whole was a gas. The Flux almost worked out. It was bigger than big in every sense. So big in fact that one universe wasn't big enough and 3 of the same Doctor needed to chip in to sort it out. Unfortunately, what happened was what I worried would happen, and that's that the final episode, the most important, collapsed under the pressure. It was anticlimactic. Dan gets more or less stitched up at the end, and during that exact point in the previous episode, the world was being invaded, and during that point in the first episode of Flux, the universe was being destroyed. I can't help thinking Mr. Chibs accidentally sent his scripts off to the BBC in reverse order. There needed to be some real drama to bring this concept to fruition, and I'd have taken that over big explosions and comedy spots any day of the week. Instead, a bunch of things happened. They weren't the best things, they should have been, they weren't. If you disagree, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Flux distinguished guests. I've waffled extensively when I could have just said this. Very much enjoyed the journey, didn't much care for the payoff. Oh well, fun was had. And yeah, alright, fine. Let's see where this all heads in 2022. I'm not really banking on either of the Daleks a great deal. I'm sure it'll be good to a point, but they're just continuing the New Year's Daleks on Earth saga thingy. We're getting part 3 of that now. It's got nought to do with out. Look at his gun spinning there. I think that's a Christmas tree in the background. Happy New Year. What other Doctor Who stuff would you like me to talk about? Sound off in the comments, and don't forget to hit subscribe. Have a good one.